that you didn't even know. I just want to thank you for joining us this morning, for doing something, investing in yourself, because that's really what you're doing. And the fact that you care enough to get up early on a Saturday morning as a teenager to join us is an applaud all in itself. So I applaud you for that. And I am looking forward to helping you to see what you want for your future. So my name is Sarah Alston. I basically started my business because I had a lot of problems as a teenager. I was an at-risk teen, but before that, I was physically and emotionally abused by my mother. I ran away at 8 years old. I didn't tell you guys that. I ran away 3 times at 8 years old. The first time was in a snowstorm. So as a result of that, I ended up living with my father, who ended up being, he was a drug dealer, but he also, and then on top of that, he ended up using drugs. So, and that also led to later me being, a lot of times I didn't have food there either. And then on top of that, I was sexually abused. So from there, I ended up going into a girls group home. And I stayed in a girls group home from 13 to 21. And it was a very interesting, challenging time in my life because I didn't have family support. By the way, I'm one of 9 kids. I'm number 7. So I say all that because there's a lot of challenges that I've gone through that I can definitely relate. But in spite of it, I was able to graduate from high school, right? I ended up actually going to a boarding school while still going back to a group home and navigating that, which is like, oh, you think you good, you think you better than everybody else, go through all the it's peer pressure on another level, you know? So it's different when you have girls just peer pressuring when you're in that environment, right? When you're in high school and you see the girl and they're like, oh, you don't have the latest, like, you know, 125s, you don't have, and you're like, it's that kind of peer pressure, but it's on next level because they were drinking and smoking and sexing. And as a result of being in there, everybody else thought I was doing the same thing. So I've come through a lot of challenges, but I still made it through. I ended up graduating from high school. I then went to Colgate University, which is upstate New York. And in spite of that, I made it through. And in between there, my senior year, I lost my oldest brother. And he left behind 2 kids, which the girls didn't even know they were pregnant at the same time. And then, so all these things shaped me to try to help young men. And then my senior year in college, my second oldest brother was murdered. So I've been through quite a bit, but in spite of it, something inside of me, even when I didn't believe in myself, there were like my caseworker, she would tell me, listen, you can do this. But I didn't have a lot of people in support and I didn't have parental support. And that's what led me to want to start reaching out for teens. And I became a middle school teacher working with at-risk teens. Like I was the first time it was, these kids had 3 teachers already. So there was a lot of issues going on with that. I say all that because there's a lot of different things that I've been through, but in spite of it, I've been able to graduate from school. I have my master's, plus actually I have the equivalent of 2 masters that I paid for. No one else paid for it. You know, I own my own home. I'm doing very well. I've taught middle school, I've taught high school. And then I started speaking for different youth groups back at the group home. And then I started speaking at schools and parent organizations and things like that. So my whole goal was I wish somebody would have helped me and helped me see that I could do and be so much more in my life. And I've done very well, but my goal is to try to help empower youth, young ladies, young men, and even women to realize they can be so much more than what we're told we could be as young ladies. Okay. Hi, Reagan. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us this morning. And did anybody hear from Bree? So,
hi, good morning.
Hi, we're just asking, can you cut on the camera so we can see your beautiful faces? So, okay.
My computer doesn't have a camera.
Okay, no problem. So
sorry.
No problem. So as long as you can hear us and everything's good, we're good. So I was just basically saying that my intro and that I'm here. I'm also I'm a mentor. I have one of my mentees is now 30 and the other one is 20, soon to be 23. So, well, no, I think my mentee's actually almost 35, actually. I say all that because ladies, as women of color, we are sometimes like, it's almost like we're almost ignored, right? And sometimes that can teach us to silence ourselves. And I want you to understand, and I want you to have a vision for your life so that you can feel empowered, so that you may know that no matter what your circumstances look like, you can still do some amazing things in your life. There is a plan for your life. And when I was younger, going through all these crazy things, I just knew that for me, I was like, okay, I'm just here to be a punching bag and God is mad at me and all this other stuff. And now I can look back and say that's not the case. It's that I had to go through all those challenges so that I could help other people. So the very things you might be facing right now, just know it's not the end. There is something better and good on the other side of it, even though it doesn't feel good right now. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes, no? Okay, so I'm super excited. We're going to start with an icebreaker that we're going to share out. And you can, again, one of the things is feel to share as much as you feel comfortable to. If you don't want to, that's fine. We ask that everybody share something. It may not be as personal or whatever. That's up to you. So let's start with the basics. I'm a foodie, right? I want you to think about and share what's your favorite food, right? And if you could be any food in the world, what would you be? So what's your favorite food? And then if you could be any food or even fruit in the world, what would you be and why? Okay. Everyone hear me? That's awesome. Okay, so would anybody like to start? Okay, I'll start. So my favorite food is lamb. I love lamb. I grew up with my family. My family was brought up as Israelites. So there's lots of holidays and lamb was the whole thing. If I could be a fruit, I would be, I'd say a banana, because bananas take time to ripen, yet they're sweet, but they're still firm. And so that's what I aspire in my life to be sweet, but to still be firm enough in myself that I'm just not being moved left and right. Awesome. So I'm going to call on Reagan.
Okay, so.
And then you can call on someone else.
Okay, so my favorite.
Reagan, is it Reagan or is it Regan?
It's Regan.
Oh,
Regan.
sorry,
Okay,
Regan.
we hate to people mispronounce my name all the time. So when people mispronounce your name, you have to let them know.
Yes.
Because it is not cool to mispronounce your name. It's not.
Okay.
It is okay to tell people.
Yes.
All right. So my favorite food is mac and cheese. And if I were to